All right. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Joseph Crawford. I am the Assistant Director of Programs here at South Arts. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Artist Creative Practice Grant webinar. Just a quick thing about South Arts. South Arts is headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. It is a nonprofit regional arts organization empowering artists, arts organizations, and communities by increasing access to arts, culture. South Arts believes in the power of the arts crossing borders. Our region birthed jazz, cultivated the traditional arts of Appalachia, and is home to some of today's most innovative, boundary-pushing artists. Past, present, and future, the arts of our region drive the country forward. Our mission is advancing Southern vitality through the arts. South Arts supports and celebrates the artistry of our region with grants, fellowships for artists, communities, and organizations. From the most rural and isolated towns to our largest urban cities in the South, communities thrive with access to art. In partnership with the National Endowment for the Arts and the state arts agencies of Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee, with additional funding from other public and private donors such as the Doris Duke Foundation, the Ford Foundation, and the Mellon Foundation. South Arts supports artists and organizations through a rich and responsive portfolio of grants, fellowships, and programs. Our nine-state region includes Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. As stated before, this is for the FY26 Artist Creative Practice Grant. So let's dig in. And as we go on through this presentation, the Q&A is open. So if you have any questions, you can drop it in there and I will answer as many as I can at the end. So South Arts offers Artist Creative Practice Grants, formerly the Individual Artist Career Opportunity Grants, to ensure that artists from our region can take advantage of a variety of career-enhancing opportunities. The Artist Creative Practice Grant supports a variety of professional development opportunities, including milestone activities in an artist's career that will likely lead to substantial career growth. Grants up to $3,000 are available for opportunities taking place between November 1st of 2025 and June 30th of 2026. Now we're going to go over an overview of the eligibility requirements. So the application must meet the following eligibility requirements. Be an individual, professional, caliber working artist in one or more of the following artistic disciplines. Dance can be choreography or performance. Music, that's production, composition, songwriting, performance, and opera, musical theater, etc. Theater, that includes producing, directing, acting, or playwriting, visual arts, painting, drawing, mixed media, sculpture, etc. Crafts like ceramics, fiber, glass, leather, metal, paper, plastic, wood, etc. Photography, the design arts, including architecture, fashion, theatrical design, graphic design, or industrial or interior design. Media arts, TV or film production, experimental film, screenwriting, or animation, vernacular arts, folk and traditional arts, again, literature, poetry, prose, spoken word, time-based arts, including installation, sound, video art, computer-generated art or performance art, and then also public art, ephemeral or permanent. You'll need to be 18 years of age or older at the time of application, be a legal resident of the United States in the South Arts region, those 9 states we went over earlier. And you are also expected to maintain residency in the region during the award period. Also, not be in a degree-seeking program or degree-seeking student at the time during the grant period. You also need to submit a complete and accurate application using the South Arts Salesforce portal. Now we will take a look at the awards process for the Artist Creative Practice Grant. And like I said, as we're going through, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A. There will be time at the end to go over that, go over any questions. So the awards process. The Artist Creative Practice Grants will pay up to 2/3 of the total cost of the opportunity, with a $500 minimum award and a $3,000 maximum award. The artist must cover the remaining expenses. South Arts requires a 2-to-1 match, meaning that, as an example, if the total opportunity costs $3,000, the applicant may request $2,000 and provide the remaining $1,000 from other resources. The Artist Creative Practice Grant is a competitive grant program, and South Arts expects to award up to 15 grants during this cycle. To receive final payment, grantees must submit a completed final report attaching supporting documentation within 30 days of completion of the funded activity. Grant funds will be dispersed as follows. 75% of the grant award upon acceptance of terms and completion of grant paperwork, and 25% of the grant award upon satisfactory staff review of the submitted final report. And here's a quick overview of the use of the funds. The Artistic Creative Practice Grant recipients must use the grant funds as stated in their application and budget. Grants are not transferable to other events or activities except in extenuating circumstances and with written approval from the program director. Grantees must submit any proposed changes from the original application in writing and have that approved by South Arts before the activity. South Arts does retain the right to approve, revise, or revoke the award due to such changes. So here's a quick overview of eligible activities. This is not a exhaustive or comprehensive list, but this is just some opportunities that would be eligible. So an artist residency, a selection to participate in a residency opportunity at an official artist residency program, an apprenticeship, advanced study of artistic practice or mentorship. This is viewed differently from being in a degree-seeking program. So in an organized university setting, where you will end up with a degree at the end, is viewed differently than an apprenticeship, a little more informal study with an artistic practice with a mentor. Conferences or classes. This one is limited to a maximum of $1,000. So it is a little different than some other opportunities, but conferences or classes. Creative entrepreneurship. This is to support for limited artistic business enhancements activities, including the development of e-commerce solutions, creation of marketing materials, engagement of a consultancy to assist with financial management, banking, marketing, or legal counsel related to patents, trademarks, contracts, etc. Then the opportunity to present, produce, perform, exhibit, screen, or sell. So this one does require an invitation. So it's an invitation to deliver original work at a significant in-person event, such as major festival, a juried showcase, an artist fair or market, an exhibition, and similar activities. Research. So the grant can be used for scholarly artistic research pertaining, partnering with recognized archival venues, including libraries, academic institutions, and other such institutes. Again, separate from being in a degree-seeking program. Um, and then just a note at the end, you are able to budget for travel to participate in eligible activities as outlined above. And so this is an overview of some of the ineligible activities. And please refer to the Artist Creative Practice Grant page on South Art's websites for more information on the grant guidelines and policies to determine whether or not your application is eligible. And of course, you can always reach out to me or Emmett Stevenson, the program director, directly if you have any specific questions. Um, so this grant is not for groups of artists. So opportunities that support and advance the career of groups of artists, such as musical bands, dance groups, or theater companies. This program is for individual artists only. So again, understanding that there are nuances in art. If you have questions about an opportunity where you could be involved with a group of artists, please reach out, um, and then we can discuss the specifics of the opportunity and the grant. So cataloging, archiving, and related expenses. So that would be cataloging a body of work, publication, documentation, promotion, or archiving of a body of work. Again, this is different from the promotion of a specific exhibition or show. Um, and then, so college or university degree programs, again, I've mentioned it a couple times, but if you are in a degree seeking program, you would not be eligible. So any activities that support participation in a college or university degree granting program. Um, and showcases and booking conferences. So this is for general performance showcasing or booking conferences. Um, Different from being invited to perform at a larger uh, uh, activity or a larger performance venue or something like that. This would just be a showcasing or booking conference. So let's take a look at the South Arts review process for this grant. Um, So the grant funding cycle is November 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, with rolling reviews and notifications. This is different from our individual artist career opportunity grant from last year. Um, it's a little a change. Estimated dates of award announcements will be made public soon. We anticipate receiving and reviewing applications on a 2-month cycle, and then announcing the awards with at least 1 month notice before the proposed project begins. Um, an outside panel will review the applications using the above metrics. A detailed explanation of each metric is available on our website. So career, entrepreneurial, or development impact will be reviewed on a 34-point percentage scale. The artistic excellence, both of you and of you, the artist, and of the opportunity, that is up to 33 points or 33 percentage. And the artistic merit of the opportunity, also 33 points. So we'll go over the application requirements. We'll do a quick overview. Please note that this year South Arts has moved to a universal application. So the flow of the application, the specific phrasing of some of the questions may be slightly different from what is on the grant page. Um, so let's look over this. The applicant must answer each question that is required. As you will notice in the application, there are some questions that may not pertain to your opportunity specifically. If they are not required, you're just asking that you answer the questions that best align with your opportunity and with what is outlined on the grant page. So the application should include 3 to 5 links to websites relevant to the application. That could be the application's website, the website of a host or inviting organization, or a program in which you as the applicant want to participate. So as you will notice, also within the new universal application, um, all of the submitted material is going to be links. So you won't be submitting PDFs or JPEGs or anything like that for review. It can be a link to your website, to a share drive that our panelists will be able to access. And if you have any questions about that, we do have some information in our FAQs and on our website, but you can also reach out. Um, Please note that the applicants must submit an invitation on the inviting entity letterhead or via the entity's email account with the application by the application due date. So this is if you're invited to participate in opportunity specifically. So if you've been invited to participate in a showcase or in a performance venue or at an exhibition, etc., um, we would need to see the official invitation with that as well. Um, this list and additional information is available on the application section of the grant page on our South Arts website. Now we're going to take a look at some key dates and review the information from today's webinar. Um, so here's some key information and some key dates. Your minimum grant request is $500. Maximum is $3,000. Again, that 2-to-1 grant match. Also, the grant period is November 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. The applications have opened. They were open July 16 of 2025. Um, and the applications will close April 30th, 2026. They will be reviewed on a rolling basis about every 2 months by our panel. Um, there will not be a consistent public announcement of grantees. Those will be posted on our website at a later date. So you will be able to see in the Salesforce the status of your in Salesforce the status of your application once it's submitted. It will change from either declined, approved, and if it is approved, you will also receive an email from South Arts with more information or ineligible. So just remember to check back on your Salesforce profile to see what the status bar if it has changed. So as we just went over, it's a rolling deadline with final applications due no later than 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, April 30th, 2026. And applications will be reviewed for funding decisions on a 2-month cycle. Um, that will be starting in September so that we can make our first round of announcements in October. Again, they won't be public announcements, so they won't be we won't be announcing them in our newsletter or on social media, but we will be announcing directly to the awarded applicants, and then we'll be updating your application status throughout. And the activities will need to start November 1st of 2025 and end by June 30th of 2026. So though the application has been open and opened in July, and even you'll be notified before November, the activities of the opportunity that you are applying for um, will not be able to start before November 1st. So the grant period is November 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. All right. So now we have time for some questions. Um, so I'll open up the Q&A and I will take a look. If I don't get to your answer, don't get to your question right now, just remember this is being recorded and will be shared on our website. And you can also email me directly, or you can reach out to Emmett Stevenson, the program director. So bear with me. I'm going to read your question to myself and then answer it and then read and answer out loud. So this may be a little slow process with some quiet time. So thank you so much for sticking out with me. Awesome. So we did have a question. Can you please explain what professional caliber working artist means? Is there a threshold for the amount of work or duration of experience? Um, yeah, so there is not a specific duration of experience or threshold. We will just ask that we see some proof of you actively working to be a professional artist. And so you don't need to be in a museum. You don't need to be actively selling. You don't have to. There's not a minimum of how many pieces you sold, etc. We just need to see that the effort is being made to be a professional artist. Um, again, we keep our opportunities open to anyone. So um, if you are a fresh artist just getting on the scene, you'll be just as eligible as someone who's been on the scene for 30 plus years. So professional caliber, again, is we're viewing it as a pretty loose. We just want to see that there's an effort being made on your part to be an artist. Um, yeah, and if you have any, again, if you ever have any questions about the answers or would like more detail on an answer that I give, please feel free to reach out. Okay, great question. Would an artist residency that takes place outside of the South Arts region be applicable? Yes. Your opportunity will not need to take place specifically in the South Arts region. Um, you as the artist need to be in our region, but if it's a residency outside of our region, that's perfectly fine. If it's outside of the country, also would love to talk about it. Still eligible. We would just need to maybe get some more information and talk a little more about the details. Okay, so this is another great question. They're all great questions. Would an artist be able to use these grant funds for the purchase of supplies and materials to upgrade a studio? For instance, a potter wanting to extend their working space or be able to produce more work to produce pottery. So this would not go, this is not an infrastructure grant, so this would not go to buy new materials or add to any infrastructure as the artist. This is more of a project specific sort of thing. Um, short answer, no, it will not go to purchase new equipment or any sort of infrastructure. Um, as you see that there's that added professional development kind of um, use of other resources to maybe upgrade a website or make a game plan for marketing and such like that. So that is a little, we are viewing that a little differently than, buying a new kiln or something like that. So no, it will not go to purchase new materials. Um, so there's a question about can it go through, can an artist receive the award through the LLC that they own, or does it need to be given directly to the artist and receive a 1099? Um, I would need to confirm with our accounts team, but if you are the sole proprietor of the LLC, I believe that is okay. But again, I would need to confirm with our accounts team just to be sure before I steer you wrong. So if you are awarded and you do have an LLC, please reach out to us and say, "Hey, I received this award. I would love to submit under my LLC for tax reasons. Is that okay?" And we can have that conversation. Okay, great question. Can the budget be split for a solo exhibition and group exhibition if sharing a body of work or materials? Um, so my gut reaction is going to be no. Again, in the past, we have had people apply where they are a part of a group exhibition, um, uh, but they are applying as a solo artist. Um, so I would say apply, but there is a high chance that you will be deemed ineligible once we get into like the weeds of the application, or the panelists might not view that opportunity specifically as a individual artist opportunity. That's taken on a case by case basis. No funds can be transferred to any other artist. So it really will depend on, are you using the funds? Are the funds going to your work specifically? So we would need to get into the weeds of what the opportunity looks like. So just to recap, because I rambled a little bit, um, can a budget be split for solo exhibition and group exhibition? Short answer, no. The budget will need to be for you as the individual artist wholly. Now, if you are an artist in a group exhibition, you can still apply. Um, and then we can have a longer conversation about what that would look like in terms of if you're awarded one of the grants. Can an artist apply for more than one project? No, you will only be able to apply once in the fiscal year, and it will be for one project. Now, if there are multiple components to that project, like say there is a, a research component to with a final product, that's okay. But if it's two separate projects, so say there's a research component for one piece and then a final project for a different piece, that would not be eligible. But if it's one project consisting of multiple um, points in that project, that would be eligible. Uh, Great question, and thank you so much for bringing this up. I'm applying for, someone wrote in, I'm applying for a photography workshop. What do I do for the questions that don't apply to me, e.g. the venue seats, etc.? You can just leave those blank. Um, as I mentioned before, we switched over to a universal application. And so this singular application is covering all of our grants for individual artists. Um, and so there are questions in there for performing artists and for some of our performing for like our jazz road program that don't really pertain to a visual artist or um, things like that. So if it is required, it will tell you it's required. With the new application, it won't let you move forward in the application without completing the required questions. So those that are required. So you'll need to complete those. Um, if it does not pertain to your opportunity specifically, you can just leave it blank. Um, there's just no need to fill it out. You can put in NA if you feel like you need to, but you don't. That's not required. You can just leave it blank. And we have spoken with our panelists just to say, hey, we switched over to a new application process. We're working through some kinks. So there is a level of grace and understanding in reviewing these applications that some questions might not align perfectly with answers and so forth. So yeah, you don't need to answer things that aren't specific, that aren't required, and don't pertain to your opportunity. And of course, if you have any specific questions, please feel free to reach out. Okay, this is a good question that we get often. Um, and someone wrote in saying, I'm a visual artist creating art um, just to create art. Um, how will I be qualified for such a grant with no show or collaboration? For this grant specifically, there needs to be an opportunity aspect. So if you are requesting funds just to create art, unfortunately, this grant would not go towards that. Now, if there is a show involved, if you are part of an exhibition, we will be able to support that opportunity. But unfortunately, if it's just creating art for art's sake, which is great and I encourage it, I do it myself, but this grant will not be able to fund that. So it would need to be tied specifically to an opportunity. Also, great question about the application. How do you enter video art on the application? Can you supply links to your work? Yes, so with this new application, all work samples have been switched over to links. You can no longer upload JPEGs, PDFs, videos, etc. You'll only be uploading links. So this can be a link to your website. It can be a link um, to like a Vimeo video or a YouTube video, a link to a share drive with work samples. Um, so yes, you can provide links. Um, I will say, please ensure that the settings on whatever link you share is made public, so that our panelists can view your submitted work. once the application is submitted, we will not be reaching out for any specific details or to update anything unless there's an issue on South Art's part. So if there's a glitch in the Salesforce system that might have led to something, we'll reach out to get that fixed. But if you add a link to a share drive that is set to private and the panelists can't see it, then they just can't see your work. So yes, you will be able to add links. So good question about the disbursement process. So the disbursement process will be 75% of your awarded funds up front. So if you are awarded $1,000, once you are awarded and sign that awards letter, you will receive $750. And then after we receive the final report, you will receive the remaining $250. Um, and for the timeline on that, again, once we receive your signed awards letter, it usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks. Honestly, less than that, but we like to say 2 to 3 weeks. It just depends on your banking system, what their policies are, etc. And then for the final report, South Arts, we have a 30-day window to review that final report. So if you put your report in on October 1st, we will have reviewed it by October 30th. And then if everything looks good, we will go ahead and submit it to our accounts team to pay out the remaining 25% of your award. If anything looks wrong or if we're missing some information, I'll reach out to you and say, hey, could you please submit these receipts or can you clarify this information? And then we'll work with you to make sure all the information is there. Um, and then once everything is looking good, then again we'll submit it. And it'll take 2 to 3 weeks, but usually closer to the 2 week timeline. Okay, great question. I'm wondering about work samples for writers. Is there a page limit or limit for writing samples? Um, Also, our writers working on any genre, eligibility, fiction, poetry, etc. Yes, working on any genre eligibility. Um, so again, we're not prescribing any specific genre for any of the applications. So whatever your artwork is your artwork. And as long as it's eligible, please apply. Um, is there a page limit or writing sample limit? Um, Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I don't think there's one explicitly said. Um, there may be, I may be missing one that we have posted on our website. So double check there. Um, I will say this is a group of panelists reading these applications, and they're going to read a good bit of them. Um, so I would be cautious to put in a ton of samples of work. Same with visual arts. You don't want to, if you're linking a Google Drive, you don't want to link a Google Drive of 100 works. There is a limit on how many works we ask for, but again, understanding that if you're linking a Google Drive, you can add over that limit. So I would just cautious you to be conscious of the fact that if you put too much, our panelists just wouldn't have time to review, a novella. So I would say 2 to 3 pages would probably be great. If you have like a solid 2 to 3 pages, that would be awesome. Up to 5 pages is probably okay. Um, but yeah, just be wary of putting too many samples out there. Be selective of what you submit. Okay, so this is also a great distinction and question. Is a non-degree related certification eligible? Um, so no, if it is a if you're going to have a certification or certification degree, et cetera, at the end of the opportunity, those tend to be ineligible. Um, Again, with things being in the arts, things are a little loosey-goosey. So it could be a workshop series that you're going to attend, and at the end of the workshop series, you'll have some sort of certification. If you have questions about that, please reach out so we can kind of talk over the fine details of that. Um, uh, Base overview, I would say no if you're going in for a certification specifically. But if it's a larger workshop series and you'll just happen to have a certification at the end of it, then we can discuss that. Okay, good question. Is there a specific monthly date that the committee meets to discuss the next selection and time period? Um, since we do have a panel of a few different panelists, um, it kind of all depends on syncing up everyone's schedule to meet and discuss. So the panelists will get the first round, the first couple of applications at the beginning of um, the beginning of September. Then they will have all of September to review, and then we will meet in that last week of September, and then get announcements out the big first week of October is what we're shooting for. Again, having grace and understanding that everyone's schedules may change. We are shooting for with the November 1st of opportunity of the grant period to have the first round of awardees out October 1st, which means panelists will start reviewing September 1st. So coming up. Um, uh, so that's kind of the general timeline is if we're announcing October, then for November, then in November, we will begin or in October, they'll review the next round of applicants to announce in December or January. Um, so yeah, it'll be on a 2-month basis. I think I skipped a month there, but um, so we are meeting at the announcing the month before um, November, so in October, and then in December, and etc. Um, I rambled a little bit there, so that might not have been very clear. There's not I mean, we do have set dates and set meetings already. I just don't have that calendar in front of me. And it's 11:45 now. So I will go to the next slide, which leads to my next question is, what is your email? So again, Emmett Stevenson is the director of artist engagement and the director of this program. I am Joseph Crawford, the assistant director of programs. That is our contact information. This information is also available on our website at southarts.org and on the grant page. This is information is all available. Please feel free to reach out. Email is going to be the best way to get an answer. But if your question is or to get a quick answer, but if your question is a bit more nuanced, please feel free to give give Emmett or I a call. And then I'll take just a couple more minutes um, to look over some of the questions again. Um, so I did receive a question of how many applications do you generally receive for this grant? Um, uh, Last year, I think it was a couple hundred, or pushing 200, I believe. So it is relatively competitive. So if we're getting 200 applications, we have the funds to support about 15. So it is competitive, which is why we do encourage you to reach out if you have any questions before applying. Good question. Would you explain the difference between artistic excellence and artistic merit? So artistic excellence is pertaining more to you as the artist. So this would be your body of work, your quality of work, possibly past opportunities you've had. Um, the artistic excellence is looking more at you as the artist, while artistic merit um, is going to be focused more on the opportunity you are presenting, um, and maybe any collaborators in the opportunity. So if you're doing an exhibition, um, the artistic merit would look at who else might be in the exhibition, who's putting on the exhibition, or if you're doing a performance, what is the venue of the performance, who's producing it, etc. So artistic excellence is more focused on you as the artist, and artistic merit is more on the opportunity. Okay, another good question. Under the budget, what qualifies as evidence of matching funds? So we don't ask for evidence of matching funds. Um, uh, how that process will go is you'll submit a budget. The overall cost of the project needs to meet the 2-to-1 match. So for instance, if you are requesting $2,000, the overall expenses on the budget need to be at least $3,000. We won't ask for any bank statements or anything like that up front. Um, but once you submit your final report, that is where we will request all of the receipts and all of the payments that you made. So, for instance, if the budget said you were going to spend $3,000 and you ended up spending only $2,000 and you only have receipts for $2,000, we would need to lower your awarded amount. Um, so, um, that is that. And if you have any questions about that specifically, please feel free to reach out. But we don't ask for evidence of matching funds. We will just ask for um, uh, receipts at the end of the project. So that is also a good reminder of please keep your receipts. Um, please keep them nice and organized. And you will, at the end, you will send in all of your receipts. All right. And I'll do one more question before wrapping up. Um, and this is a great question to end on. Um, So this is a question: if a residency starts November 1st, could the application include residency fees and airfare and payments before the November 1st? So no, we will not be able to. The funds will be sent out, will be requested on November 1st, so you probably won't get the funds until um, a week, like November 7th or 8th, or a week from whatever that Wednesday is, the first week of November, after November 1st. But it will not go to support any funds spent before November 1st. So we are very strict about that, just given the nature of our funding. All money spent needs to happen within the grant period. Um, so yeah, there are about a dozen or so questions that I couldn't get to. If I didn't get to your question, please reach out. That's my email. That's my email. We also have Emmett's email here. So please reach out. We also have our FAQ section, which answers a good bit of those questions, and then our grant guidelines. Um, Again, thank you so much for attending today's webinar. A recording of this will be posted on our website within a week or so, so you can go back and review. Um, and yeah, thank you so much and good luck.